Hello everybody, and welcome. I am the Beta Plan, and this is Europa Universalis 4, where we are playing as Ryazan, forming Russia, because in this episode we're gonna do it. Now, for the first things first, of course, as everybody probably will notice, the time isn't exactly where it is when I left you all guys off. That's because I, as a professional YouTuber, always remember to save. It's becoming a very bad pattern. I'm sorry. It's just that I need to rush to some other things to do and then oopsie daisy. Luckily, it didn't change anything drastically, as in, as soon as I loaded up the game, Austria and Ottomans made peace, making the exact same peace deal. Birlot and Ackermann, were given to the Ottomans. Nothing else special, so you know what? I will take that. Now, first, let us talk about forming Russia. After that, we're going to talk about the series. So, first part is going to be a little bit of bureaucratic nation Google AI nerd stuff. After that, we're going to go in a little bit more to the action. So if you're not interested in, skip ahead 5 minutes. But yeah, we are now Ryazan. Ryazan at itself as a governmental title. I have National Unrest -1 because I'm a Russian principality. National tax modifier and governing capacity +100. Remember this. Then National Unrest even more lowered thanks to Ryazan idea. So -2 overall. That's really, really good. And we have recovery of army moral speed +5%. That's nice, right? And in fact, it's even better if you consider that at the end of the writ, which is Dutch, at the end of the ride. That's a Dutch expression, and therefore I made some halfway baked thing, but let's continue. You get additional moral of armies. Advisor cost is lowered. Core creation cost lowered by -15%. That's amazing. Infantry combat ability +5%. Monthly war exhaustion -0.02. That doesn't seem like a lot, but that's really good. That's really nice because you can just keep on fighting longer, and certainly in wars where you lose a lot of men, that war exhaustion goes up. Then there's production efficiency, which I don't think is really nice. Actually, I think this is kind of poor. Then there is manpower recovery speed. That's amazing. Then there's cavalry cost lowered. Yeah, not really crazy about cavalry. I tend to use infantry a lot more, or I don't know why I'm hovering over this, because this is not about infantry. This is about the infantry. But I used infantry a lot more, and otherwise later on cannons. If you're a horde, then this is nice, but otherwise, yeah. And national manpower modifier +15% and land force limit modifier +25%. So more men, larger armies, better cavalry, lower cavalry cost, better infantry, cheaper to core, lots of national unrest reduction, and manpower recovery speed. Of course, also only 2 diplomats because we are considered a principality, which is like a duchy. And of course, you can see max promoted culture, stuff like that. So what is going to happen when we form Russia? Well, once again, these are the things. Let's form Russia now. Of course, we're taking the new ideas. Let's go. So, our government. Now we have the governing capacity +250, so that's an increase of 150%. Woo-wee. Maximum absolutism, very nice. Not right now necessary, because we're not in the age of absolutism, but that's gonna be cool. Monthly autonomy change. Yes, thank you so much. That is really, really good. And national manpower modifier +20%. That's also good because thanks to the fact that we've lost that power in our national ideas. No longer there. But that 20% and the national manpower modifier of this tradition gives us a +53%. That is really nice, and that's better than Ryazan had. Core creation cost, unfortunately, 5% increase because it was -15, now -10%. And yearly legitimacy +1, which is absolutely nice, because I prefer that, as certainly the advisor cost reduction is also here in the table of ranks, which gives us army tradition and advisor cost reduction, and that's an overall improvement. Yearly corruption down, I think that is just as good as national tax modifier going up. I think perhaps that is a little bit better, national tax modifier going up. That's a mouthful, isn't it? But the yearly corruption is also really nice, because when corruption goes bad, it goes bad. And on top of it, it's very costly to reduce it. Long life conscription, there's a land force limit modifier that we lost at the beginning. Here it is, amazing. This I like a lot better. As I said, I use artillery more than cavalry, certainly late game, and they are more expensive than cavalry, so I'm going to have this reduced in cost. And here the combat ability is improved. Instead of my infantry, it's the cannons. We'll have to keep that in mind and fight a lot with cannons. Siberian Frontier, because we did not play with the 2 easy DLCs that make Orthodoxism a little bit more interesting, and it makes Russia have a special mechanic regarding colonizing Siberia, so you don't need this colonist. But hey, we went the hard way and we made it difficult because we formed it via Ryazan. And then Land of the Rus, less aggressive impact. That is really, really nice. Overall, we lost a lot of national unrest reduction. Like, that is gone. The 2 of Ryazan, and momentarily we have it increased because of increased centralization. On the other hand, we now accept every freaking culture from our group, which is amazing because that is all of this. So, heck, there is a lot less unrest in that particular area. Huh? So that is the trade-off, and I think it is absolutely good. Overall, of course, even more so because look at the permanent claims I just get. Because, you know, I just did a mission. Oh, wait, what? You want more permanent claims? Sure, here you go. Permanent claims everywhere. This is Russia. It's nuts. It's absolutely freaking nuts. Woohoo. So, now that we have formed Russia, have all kinds of claims, have a lot of things to do, what are we going to do? Well, actually, unfortunately, this series, I love it. I really enjoy doing these type of challenges for myself, and I really enjoy these type of EU4 games. They aren't as popular on my channel. People know me for Crusader Kings. That's fine. EU4 is a little bit less known, but it is also bad for the channel, considering how the YouTube algorithms nowadays work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to midway, because I'm not going to let myself stop entirely according to the YouTube algorithms. And I want to show you what we do with Russia, but I also don't want to make this too lengthy of a 50-episode series. So after that we form Russia, I'm going to show you highlights of the funny things and the important things that happen in our Russian lifetime. So considering important warfare, PUs if we get them, or yeah, I don't know, funny things. I don't know, maybe we'll get a colony in Brazil for some reason. That will be a funny thing. We'll have to see. But that is the idea, so I hope you enjoy. I hope you can find peace in that. And I hope you, if you don't like it, hey, I hope you enjoyed this odd way of forming Russia and the challenge that came with it. If you're going to go, thank you for watching. And if you're going to enjoy the next 2-3 episodes and the rest of this episode with the highlights reel, then by all means enjoy. And the first funny thing actually happens a few minutes after I stop recording my voice in the game, where the game promptly asks me, hey, do you want to help the Ottomans against France and Spain and all their allies? Russia says niet. Really, game? Really? Oh. In fact, and a few moments later the game asked, oh, in that case, do you want to spend some patriarchal authority to get claims in Greece? The problem is, that's in Greece. It's like really, really far away. It are permanent claims, and can be permanent claims. That's really nice. But in the end, I decide, no, you know what? Russia for Russia, and we'll take that stability, patriarchal authority, and opinion boost of nations. And from that, we move into the first Bohemian-Danish-Russia war. I call them as such because Bohemia and Denmark are allied with one another, and always they aid each other, and always I spank both of them hard within these wars. Now I say I, but it's not always that way. In this war we are aided by Prussia and Austria. And of course that means that we have a very big sandwich around Bohemia, for instance. So what do we want to get? Well, Bohemia has a lot of Polish territories, so territories that Poland has cores on. I had to think for a moment how to say that. So we want to get them back. Not only that, there's still the Danish Baltic, and Lithuania, our vassal, has claims all over the Danish Baltic. In fact, on all of it. So I want to give that to Lithuania, and I want to give Poland some of its territories back. I'm really happy with Prussia and Austria in this war because they are, well, they can not only keep Bohemia busy, as I take the easy route and siege what we need to siege. They are also very good at keeping at bay all the small fries that are a little bit more to the west in the empire. And at this point, Austria is still the emperor, and well, therefore it's easy moving also around for us. And Bohemia, well, it fights back, but it doesn't stand a chance. On the other hand, I have to say Denmark puts up a bit more of a fight, I almost want to say, but that's not exactly how I should put it. They are being very stubborn, and which you will see in the end, but no worries. In the end, they will all bend the knee. And don't you worry, Danish. It won't be only you within this fly-by historical view of Russians and Russia. All the other Scandinavian nations will also bend the knee, don't you worry, they will bend. Here we see Austria taking on a very daring fight with Danish troops, and I think they're backed up by Bohemian troops, so I say, oh, well, you know what, I need to aid in here, and as soon as we arrive, they flee like the cowards that they are. No one stand against Russia. Actually, I'm kind of happy with that, because at this point in the game also, my Russian troops are still really pretty freaking bad. They were still really behind on technology. And for those who really had good eyes and spotted that quickly, yeah, there is now a Queen Regency, and you did not hear the stability drop. That's because when you speed up a war, the sound also gets speed up, and it was chipmunk sound type of music, and I was like, I like the chipmunks, but I don't like that in this sentence. So I cut all of that out of 25-30 minutes of this war, which, yeah, Peter Plan, come on, we were doing a flyover, a highlights video, not an entire war. So I cut it down, and I cut that out. So you will hear some gongs for stability drops somewhere right in the smack middle, where you don't expect them. Just consider that part of the ambience of music. That is EU4. As we move in here, and yeah, we're also starting to colonize Siberia in this particular overview, because, well, Kazan is no longer. We have integrated our vassal, and our eyes are a lot focused on the west, more so than you would expect from a traditional Russia at this point in time. But that's of course because we started also in a position where we had to move quickly south, because that was our way of expansion. And I wouldn't be surprised if we would be a bit slower than normal Russia to gain all the territories that they should have. But here, Poland, voila, no longer a one province minor. They are starting to get a little bit more of their form back, as Bohemia surrenders for a more or less 100% war score deal. But yeah, that means of course that my war score with Denmark is very minor, and I need to go all the way around to deal with them, because they are moving through territories that the Finnish have told them, hey, if you want to stop the Russians, hold them at Vyborg, hold them at Neva. Yeah. Maybe a good deal for the Finnish, not for the Danish. So we move in here. I'm waiting here a little bit for some troops to move up so that I don't send in one army and then the next. I want to make sure that we have all of them. And besides, there was a fort there siege that was... I had to wait for that to be unsieged. As you can see here, the Ottomans also being at war with Venice, France and Spain, which is what I kept an eye out for, because that could be a very interesting war. That are some high-powered nations there. Great powers, if you will. So high power, because, you know, great powers, but the game calls them, so why shall I not use that name? Well, anyways, moving in here, we, as Russia here, are a little bit like Ivan the Great. We have Baltic Sea ambitions. We want ports on the Baltic Sea, so that's what we're gonna go for. There we go, moving in as we gain a border with Uzbek, which will be important later on, but not now. Cossacks, yeah, well, they move into Ryazan. Still looking at that. In fact, this is one of the games, funny enough, where I actually haven't gone for the full absolutism, take all the lands to the state. I don't know why I didn't do it that much. I guess I felt more I'm basically in constant warfare that I can't really take it from them. And here, by the way, some interesting Russian specific events, so you can read them. I think they're just long enough on the screen to go there. This one I find a little awkward, by the way, because this is Russian claims in the east, when you can see Polish Tsars, and you get claims on the Ural, but Ural is uncolonized, except for this one little piece of Uzbek, and that one we already had a claim from our mission. So yeah, not sure why, but okay, I'll take it, I guess. I mean, it's free. As we, and heck, we have ambitions in the Ural as well, even if it is very, very slow. This is a thing about having a minor noble as a consort, not really an important event. As we move very deep into Danish territories, and here I find out, hey, there's no longer a war, so I'm looking very quickly, well, looks very quickly here. I'm looking desperately to find out what the heck it is, so I'm scrolling back here in the events map, but I can already tell you, it is a white piece. Nothing gained, nothing lost for the Ottomans. I think I would rather have them lose than I mean, France is also a beast in this game, as is Spain, but ooh, I would love to have seen them lose a little bit. Here I'm looking into, hey, is the institution spreading? Should I now take the institution or hit or spend so that we embrace it, or should I wait a bit? And by the way, I'm looking at Finnmark because I know it's part of a mission that we can have as Russia, but can't take that. I'm looking into it, and this is already 92% war score anyways, as I am also looking into, well, you know what? Forcing Denmark to release Norway. Let Norway and Sweden and the Danes be separate from one another. You chose that 1,000 years ago? No, a little less, 800 years ago, to separate your cultures, so CK3 tells us, so be free from one another. Haha. And you think that the Norwegians would be happy now because I do that? No, later they will regret it, but that's another thing. Yeah, we take a little bit, make sure that we gain some Baltic ports, and from there on we shall march further and further west. But, of course, as I said, we have also ambition in the east, and this is one where we tell this nation, Gazakuma or however you pronounce it, to abandon their deals with the Ottomans as we beat Chagatai over here, as we move on to our claims, our permanent claims that we have here in the Great Horde and Nogai. And, well, that is... we also have more ambitions later in the east, so Nogai is a bump in the road, if you will, because, well, if I want to have a little bit more land, for instance, of Transonia, it would be better if I have a little bit more border with them. And here, this is just an annoying chase, because they have access through Ottoman territory, and they're going everywhere. Like, okay. And here, yeah, I actually am talking to people that are rather minor states, if you will, but considering I've gained quite a bit of aggressive expansion due to beating Denmark and Bohemia up for lands for our vassals, I'm going to go like, well, better talk to them. I don't really want to have a not defensive pact, but a punitive war against me. Defensive pact being a CK2 thing. Alright, well, there we go. Great Horde, still stubborn, still saying no to us, but hey, you're one province minor. Russia can wait until you have no more food to eat, huh? That sounded almost like I'm doing a Russian-Italian type. You know what, I shouldn't do that accent. Just forget it. Anyways, yeah, running there into it. No guy running over them as I keep an eye on, afraid on the Ottomans, as Novgorod is improving their opinion. I don't want you to do a separation war, so yeah, my eyes are always on the south, being very, very afraid of that, of weird things happening. And we are a nation with a very long border, but very little land inward, and we have a very soft underbelly on the Pontic steppes because we have no fort in that location. And here we're going to look into, well, no guy, you heard the gong, that means your time is up. Not really, but timed nicely. But yeah, we're looking into what can we do. And here I'm noticing that Uzbek actually has some claims over here, and I'm looking at the cultures like, hey, what is your culture? Maybe we can do something with this. So I'm purposely decide to look in options to either vassalize Nogai or take something of them now without perhaps taking Uzbekian claim lands. Because you can see that Uzbek finds that I'm domineering, and that is yeah, well, that's good. And also, I don't really want to go very deep down southeast to Chagatai, so I piece out of that war a little earlier perhaps than possible. But then comes one of the great things, of course, the first humiliation of Muscovy. So what is this first humiliation of Muscovy? Well, we have our vassal Novgorod, of course, and Novgorod has cores all over the place. Very, very juicy cores. And if we also give Olonets to them, they once held it, but never made it a core, which we discussed earlier in this series. We can tell Muscovy that all of its coast is gone. Muscovy will be a landlocked nation with no more borders that are not bordering Russia. And you could already consider that it wasn't really bordering another country, but as long as it has a port, it has actually kind of access to it. So goodbye to this Muscovy and say hello to the new one. Boom, bada bing, Novgorod. Huge. Love it. Love it. From that, we go into the second Bohemian-Danish war, where you can see that Denmark has, I think, already pieced out at this moment. Yeah, it's already pieced out at this moment. I don't know what exactly we took this time, or if we just told them to GTFO. But it is time to feed my vassal Poland once more. Poland, Lithuania, of course, we fought back in the day on the side of Muscovy. Hard-fought wars against and claimed lots of lands, and they became very, very, very tiny. Oh, we're repaying a debt, so to speak, by telling the Polish people to gain their freedom. Now, in this war, I'm also getting a little earlier than you might expect, but that's because, as you notice, perhaps in the corner, there's another war going on with the Ottomans. That has me sweating bullets. Well, actually, I wish I would be sweating bullets, because then we have more ammo to fire at the Ottomans. But yeah, I don't like this. You can see here in the east, ignore that I'm trying to convert this land. Maybe if you have good eyes, but you can see it a little bit when I can zoom in. There is stripiness. We have sieged down the Pontic Steppes in this war, so we were trying to help out Austria here for realsies. The Ottomans have attacked for Bender, that is their war target, and I can already tell you that this war is a slugfest with a somewhat anticlimactic outcome. By dancing around the Ottoman troops, and I cannot name it any other ways than that, because I do dance around them, not daring to engage much. I constantly recapture Bender, and in the end there is a small little bit of war score for Austria, and they actually reclaim Bierlot and that one province that you see beneath the fort in Hungary, called Severin at this moment, that is also regained for Hungary. So it is actually a war in which Russia and Austria win of the Ottomans, but it's just like a minor victory. It's a lot of men, because all my manpower will go down the drain, I can tell you that already. It's a minor war, it's a Pyrrhic victory. But from Pyrrhic victories, it is time for another important war. A much more important war, where we have grabbed all the Finnish lands from Sweden. Because it's time again to fight Muscovy. And Sweden is a silly goose. They have allied themselves with Muscovy. Oh well, you are about to die. And Dithmarschen, who is an ally of Sweden, and we co-belligerized them, told them, you know what, why don't you become Orthodox? You know, if you want to fight us, maybe you should first try to understand us, if you really, to have a better understanding if you should or not should do this. So we forced a religion on them, and actually even then still got, I think, war reparations, but not a lot of money. But I just thought that was funny. So yeah, Muscovy, the second humiliation of Muscovy. The first time we took all the borderlands, so what is it now? Well, now I'm going to go and consolidate Russia. I do make one small mistake here before you say it. I do notice that I need Velsk actually for a mission prior to that, and I don't grab it in this peace deal. Big mistake. My apologies. But yeah, looking into peace deal, I could use money because I have an institution that I once again have to embrace, and unfortunately, because due to our size of Russia, That's always very expensive. But, you know, in the end I decide, you know what also makes money? Having people to tax. So why don't we just say, you know, get rid of all this money and take all the lands. And do take some more reparations because, hey, crippling Muscovy's economy is not a bad idea. And doing this, we said they had no port, but basically Muscovy does have the wasteland to the north of this area. I'm not sure what it is called in this forest, I'm sorry. Now, as you can see, no longer theirs. We own it now, and Muscovy is entirely surrounded by its true mother nation. Mother Russia. Doing the accent again. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I'm a bit of an actor and a role player, I tend to do this. But alright, from there we go into a very interesting declaration, because this is the first offensive Russian-Ottoman war. And you can see here from the list already that I'm no longer allied with Austria. That's because actually there was a war in between that I actually should apologize for not having recorded it. It was a French-Spanish war against Austria, because the French wanted territory. They beat the crap out of us. I didn't even dare to throw troops in. They have like stacks of 110,000, 150,000. Their tech was better. I just hid deep in my lands. And also, at that time, I was at war in the east as well. So my troops were kind of busy. So nope. But here I notice a situation where my force is about to be attacked by 80 or 110,000 Ottoman troops. They're about to take Sinop back, so you know what? I'm going to get GTFO out of here for just this little bit of land of Circassia, who is actually at the moment my vassal. It isolates the Ottoman Pontic steppe. Should a uprising hold, we won't give them access, I hope. I don't think you can actually force that, huh? I wish you could. But yeah, Circassia, I hope they won't give access. But here, they still have a war with France, Spain, and Bosnia. But yeah, it's only going bad for them because they were focusing all the troops now on me, who has invaded so much of East on the Ottoman Empire. And I got so little out of it. But you know, I was not in a situation where I was going to get war score anytime soon. In fact, I was about to lose a lot of troops. And here you can see a much larger Uzbek, and that's because, well, it's part of us now. It is a vassal state, and we have fed it lands from Nogai. Well, here is another interesting situation. This is the second Muscovy-Russian war, and I co-belligerized Sweden once again. Now they are a vassal. Told you, Danish people, don't worry. Everybody in Scandinavia will get a little Russian love. And as we also here split Muscovy into 3 separate sections, because you know what is better than humiliating Muscovy? More humiliation of Muscovy. Alright, well, and that actually also allows us to fulfill a ton of Russian missions, which always feels good, because hey, they get bonuses, and it just is a good feeling of completing more stuff. Well, and as you can see there, Uzbek has even grown much larger. We have taken lands from Transonia and from the Oirat Horde to embiggen that Uzbekian vassal horde. And yes, we have indeed a window on the west, because we do own a lot of ports now on the Baltic Sea. And in fact, you can make Neva into St. Petersburg for a lot of money. But yeah, here you see the large Uzbek Oirat Horde has been defeated. Transonia has been defeated. They had to give up all their cores of Uzbek back and few little territories more to clean up the borders. Because I like pretty. Okay. So, then comes another speed up war, and as you can see here, Würzburg, that has now Ovrax. And don't you worry, there are more things coming, because as you may already notice from where I'm standing, that being in Denmark, this is the 3rd Bohemian-Danish-Russia war. Once again, those two are my little beep. And, well, this time, we actually declared on Denmark again. First time we declared on Denmark, second time we declared on Bohemia, now we declared on Denmark again. For, well, Swedish course. Because that's a vassal of mine now. And on the other hand, Bohemia, actually, Poland made like 2 claims. They already lost one. on the Silesian territory. It's the vassal that Bohemia starts with. So I thought, you know, why shall I not embrace this and make them a little bigger? Because next to Muscovy, I guess it is Scandinavia, and especially Denmark and, well, not Bohemia because that's not Scandinavian, that are, well, draw apparently my ire, and I teach them a lesson. And here we take that little territory because I always forget that that is there, but it isn't actually colonizable. And voila, there are also the capital falls. Our fleets are actually fighting the Danish fleet and are winning. Okay, with the help of Prussia, but that's just okay. Our fleet are winning. Our fleets are winning. And yeah, we actually, they're completely trounced. I think an army of Bohemia in that case, yeah, because these are... No, that's Hamburg. I don't even know where the Danish forces are at the moment. But yeah, we are... go. Boom. Once again, no, I don't have 32 ships. I have 13 ships that I call my war fleet, which has 3 heavies and 10 galleys. All the heavies, didn't build a single one of them. All inherited from... I think Lithuania, or no, Lithuania and Novgorod. Those two both donated those things to me. Wonderful, I say, and I actually took them because money isn't really a problem. And here, I do the thing I always do, force religion on those one minor provinces, because, you know, if you fight me, I will teach you a lesson. In this case, I will teach you the right freaking Christian faith. And here, of course, after having cored a few things, we'll state them as well, and... There we go, adding the Finnish people as well, because we can handle that. But yeah, that leaves me a lot of things that need to be cored again. I still find that mechanic sometimes a little bit weird, because you already cored it, well, whatever. Anyways, as the Danes didn't want to listen to give all the lands back to Sweden, I had to go and get the last fort. Now I can. I can get war reparations out of them, so you know what? I'm looking into if I can grab lands while still Sweden having a claim, so we can come back later for another nice Danish-Bohemian Russia war. There we go, and that is settled. Lovely, lovely land instead of lovely, lovely loot. Well, for those who play Warhammer Fantasy. And yeah, it's not in the series, but don't you worry, Norway is next on the shit list because Sweden has claims on it, and I still don't have Finnmark. But with that, this episode comes to an end. I say I thank you for watching, and remember, great peril yields great beauty.